So you're coming up on your year mark, right? You got your license in January. It's towards the end of the year now. It's a year mark. What can you tell a new agent that's just getting their license? They're about to get their license. They're getting into the business. What advice can you give them from what you learned this year?
My first point of advice would be, when you're doing that course, start thinking about where you want your office to be, what broker you want to work for. If you see on social media, if you're just Googling, find the right brokerage that has a mentor for you. The mentor is going to be there for you every step of the way. At least they should be.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to have you as my mentor my whole life, but then you stepped into the broker role, and that's when I realized how important it is. There's so many questions in real estate. Every day is different. So you need that person that's going to be there every single time you call them.
Correct. You want to be able to have access to that broker or a team leader. It could be a team leader as well, right? You could be part of a team. But you want to be able to, you have so many questions. You want to be able to make that phone call or send that email or send that text and get a response.
Yeah.
Right? That's very important because there are a lot of questions, especially in the beginning. What you're doing that those 75 hours, most of that stuff is not really showing you how to do business, how to make business, how to work with clients. So the mentor is very important. Yes, you are correct.
You need to get out in the field as soon as you pass that test. You need to be ready to be handed those leads, to have referrals. If someone in your family is looking, you need to be ready to go right into it, because real estate, you need to put the time in to make money. You're not going to make money if you're just sitting back and having it handed to you. You need to be ready to hustle, unless there's no point.
On-the-job training is very important, right? You want to immediately start working, and most of the time it's buyers. There's a lot more buyers, especially today, than there are listings. Right? Listings is king, yes, but buyers is how you build your business.
Yep.
And the buyer is the end user. So, and that's usually the first piece of business that you should, because you need to know how to work with buyers.
Yeah.
It's very important. And starting out as soon as possible, because it takes 3 to 6 months to make your first check, your first closing.
Yeah.
Right? Typically the first 30 days, even if they find a house within 30 days, it's going to take 2 months for them to close, because there's a 45, 60 day time there. So no matter what, you have 3 months right there.
Yeah.
So 3 to 6 months before you start making money. So you want to be able to start working as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Right? Those relationships, the people that you're working with, right? Tell us about that process. Like, how was it to get? Yeah, you heard me on the phone for years, and some of it sunk in, but now you're physically working with these people. Tell us about that process, right? Because there's so many things. There's something as simple as using a lockbox, right?
Yeah.
We had a couple.
I had some trouble with that.
Yeah.
Working with the people is not what I thought it was going to be like in the beginning. I thought it was just showing them a house, seeing if they like it, and move on. But after working with my first family, I realized that it's more of an emotional feeling that you have, them and you also.
Yeah.
It's a connection. Like, you're helping them decide one of the biggest decisions of their life. It's
right.
a huge purchase that you need to be there every step of the way so that they feel comfortable, that they're not just making an impulse decision.
Correct.
So after my first closing and seeing how happy they were, it was like, wow, like
You did that.
I did that. So
It's like a drug.
yeah. Yeah, and then it just happened again and again and again. And it's, once you see like the first under contract, like you think about, okay, that's closing and this time, what's after that? Like, you want to keep grinding and grinding and grinding, because
Yeah.
becomes like a cycle where you want to keep going and going.
Well, yeah, that's your pipeline. You want to
Yeah.
make sure your pipeline is always.
And that's how I
going.
knew that real estate was something that I was going to stick to. Like at first, it could have just been a temporary thing for me, but now I grew to love it, and I don't think I'll ever go back.
Oh wow! I think that's the first time you told me that. That's great. That makes me very happy. So going back to the starting out with your first family, you have to give a shit. Like you have to care about them. You got to care about what's what their needs are, what their goals are. Their goals become our goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And taking them through that process, it's a lot. It's overwhelming. You have some people that they really they really know what they want, where they want it, how they want it. Well, a lot of them don't. A lot of them need some direction, on locations and area, and on the house. Sometimes people, they see a little imperfection on the house and they think the house is gonna fall down. So you have to be the one to say, hey, it's not a big deal. This is XYZ can happen. Will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see yourself doing a lot of that, like really helping them understand the process?
Yeah.
Right?
There's a lot of questions that they have, especially first-time home buyers. So you have to comfort them, and especially if you've seen it happen before, that it's going to be okay for them.
You help them through that process, and you talk about grinding, grinding and shaping, right? Because we don't want to just grind. When you grind, it just goes away. So you're grinding and you're shaping
Mm-hmm.
your career, like you're shaping your present and your future. Right? How does that feel? Like you're an entrepreneur, you're self-employed. It's your own business.
Mm-hmm.
It's real estate is a beautiful thing because it's one of the cheapest businesses to start, right? But also at the same time, as a broker, I don't like an agent. As soon as you pass your test and you get your license, before you start working, it costs you about $1,000, just to start working. So I typically like to, I guess, stop the bleeding and not have someone constantly spend money. I like to have them, do things that are free, and also help them as far as with clients and with buyers, and help them get going, right? But it's still one of the cheapest businesses to start.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, right? So someone that, let's talk about that freedom, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. You need to be on call 24/7. Like, you need to be available weekends. That was hard for me at first. I wasn't used to that. And that's when most showings are. And some people might not like that, but that's part of the job.
Correct.
And it's also nice that you can just kind of like post what you want. That's how you're getting your referrals. People are looking at you on social media and they're seeing your posts, and as long as they're real and they see in person that it matches up, that's how word's is gonna spread about you. Like, your name is gonna be well known now.
Yeah.
Because it's word of mouth from this person to this person to this person. They're watching your videos, seeing what you're posting, see how many deals you're closing, and you can post whatever you want as long as it's what the people want to see, as long as it's honest.
Correct.
And that's
they want to see someone's genuine side.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see exactly what's going on. And just to elaborate on that, you're working, 7 days a week, let's call it, but you also can make time within that. You do have, obviously we have showings during the week, it does happen. But we're on call, but we can also make our own schedule.
Yeah.
Which is very good. You have that freedom. And then as far as social media goes, it's just a way for someone to go in there and kind of see you, especially if they don't know you, no one referred you. Referrals are the best, right? Like my business, a lot of my business is referrals. It's because I've been doing it for a long time, and I have clients that, you know, for years, you know, some of them over 10 years. So that's very important, and it's because I stay in contact with them. And with social media, it's helped because they can see me without actually talking with me, or, you know, on the phone, or they kind of, you know, they see what I'm doing, and that's a very good way. So as the longer you're in the business, the combination of the two, especially for someone like you, your age, it's gonna really benefit later on. You know, that's why, you know, buyers, like, you know, yes, again, I go back, listen is king, but as a new agent, buyers eventually turn into sellers, right? So all the people that we helped out this year, in 5 to 7 years, they're gonna be sellers, right? So a young person, you're 23, so by the time you're 30, right, you're gonna have listings from transactions that you did this year, next year, right? So you got to think of it that way. You know, you got to think longevity. You got to think, you know, not just today. That's why as a real estate agent, it's important to not just, you got to think of your future. You got to think of when you're working with someone, you got to really think, you don't think of the dollars that you're going to make today. Just focus on the relationship. With you and that person, you and that family, because there's nothing more than that. You can't really quantify how much money you're gonna make, because one family, I have a family that, you know, sent me 6 different transactions within 2-year span, right? That's great, but that's not everyone. Mostly I get 1 or 2 from each of my clients, you know, within, you know, 2, 3, 4 years. So, but it's important to have that relationship with these families, these individuals. That's the most important thing, is to grow on that, you know, on that part of it. Now so we touched on one of the most important things they should do when they first coming out, when they first get their license. Talked about the process, right, with the family, and how that made you feel, how it makes them feel. I get calls all the time, and when I talk to our clients, and it's good to hear when they say, "Oh, Gabby's great, she did a great job," and they genuinely mean that, and that's important. That's very important. You have to be that way. You have to get that response from them. And again, moving forward into that closing and that post closing, how important it is to stay in contact with them after you close, and how do you do that? How are you doing that?
After they close, I feel like we always reach out to them, just see how they're doing. It's never they close and then we don't talk to them again. That never happens. If they need, they're always going to have more questions.
Correct.
If they need a painter, if they need help with this, help with that, like, we are still there for them.
Yeah.
And we need to show them that. Because if we show them we did our work, we got paid, bye, they're not going to refer us to somebody else, because there was no emotional, that just shows that we're like very surface level. Like, we have to still deeply show them that we're there for them, even if they have questions a year after they close.
Correct.
There's always, the house isn't going to be perfect forever, and they're going to have certain questions, or just reaching out to them, seeing how they're doing, just so they know that we're still thinking about them. Like, it wasn't just you want to make them feel like they were our only client when they weren't, but you want to make them feel that way, so they know that they, as an individual, still mean something to us.
Correct. So I gotta say, I think I did a pretty good job. Yes, that is the most important thing, because I wanted to touch on that, because it's such a big number of sellers, let's use sellers as an example, that would have used their agent that they bought the house with, but they didn't stay in contact with them. is like 70%, of home sellers.
Yeah.
So staying in contact with them is very important. And, for example, we're doing a holiday event this December, and we're inviting all our past clients, our current clients. That's a great way, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have Thanksgiving and you have Christmas coming, you have Hanukkah, you have the holidays. Those are the best times to use to get in contact with them.
Yeah.
If we haven't yet, then even a phone call to invite them, or, it's and gifts, different gifts. Yeah, you have closing gifts, but I like to be able to 2 to 3 times a year make sure that we get in contact with them.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's been a year, and I'm very proud to say that you're one of the top young agents in the industry right now. And I can say that because what's typical is 2 to 3 transactions a year for a first year agent,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're way above that. You're in double digits,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's a 12-month span. So moving forward, you said this is something, you made a decision whenever you made it that this is something that you want to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
This is your career.
Mm-hmm.
So how are we gonna get better? What's at the horizon? What are you going to, now let's fast forward to what is your idea to be better and to do more?
I'm just gonna keep hustling, keep doing what I'm doing, but put it on steroids. I'm gonna keep doing more and more until I can't do any more, which is gonna be impossible.
Correct.
I'm gonna create more content, just have my face out there.
Yeah.
So people always see my face and they know my name. They know what I do.
Okay.
Because that's when I'm always gonna be in someone's face. I'm gonna make more relationships and keep reaching out to my current clients, my past clients, and just so that they refer me. Because that's what I want. I want more referrals. I want more people that come to me and saying, I want you to sell our house. I want you to find us our dream house.
I think that's great. That's a great plan.